Yo, what's up, guys? For those of you who don't know, my name is KERU, and I recently came out with a remix for RayRay and Dirty Audio's song Losing My Mind. It's available everywhere, so you guys should definitely check it out. So, today, what we're gonna do is actually go over how I made it. A song breakdown. Let's base a track breakdown. That's what's gonna happen. So, in front of us is the first. It's like the second to last project that I had before like mastering. So here I basically have a longer version of the song, but it felt like it was too long, so I just decided to just cut this half, leave it here, and move this, delete all of this, copy paste it over here, and then just finished over here. I'll show you guys the second, like the final project in a bit, so we'll get there soon. So here we go. I like to route all my stuff like this. I have basically what acts as like a pre-master or a master. I basically do all my mastering in here, but there's nothing, there's pretty much nothing right now because I did it in a different project. And then I don't have anything on the master, like literally, like I just have like volume automation. That's it. It goes from 0, starts at -1, drops down to -2, and then it goes back to 0. So yeah, there's like nothing there. And then just a master gain right here, just to make sure that when it renders, there's no like clicks or pops or anything. It's just to make sure it's all clean. But yeah, that's basically it. All right, so let's start with the intro. So we start off, well, if you guys haven't heard the original, it's a house tune, and there's like a slight section where they actually use chords, because most of the time it was just like rhythm and like bass sounds. So I just grabbed that little section and I kind of just use that for the main progression here. So we have a Reese and some pads, and it's basically right here. So we have this. Okay, so what do we have here? Like I said before, Reese pad, and then these like little bell sounds that I kind of made up as like a motif or like a melody, and it's gonna be introduced again during like the breakdown section. So over here, like in the middle. So you'll hear that again, and then you hear this here again. It's just a motif to keep to have you familiar with something first, and then when it comes back again, you're like, oh, like I remember this. Like this is pretty nice. There's not much else going on in here. There's like another pad I have. It's literally a Spire preset, no effects on it. Absolutely simple. And then this is just, it's just a serum patch. It's a bunch of unison voices, detune them, and then a little bit of post processing. So there's not much going on. It's just like OTT, a little bit of compression and EQ like this, some soothe, and then a frequency shifter. I think all the other ones, yeah, see, a bunch of these have frequency shifters. I'm basically using it as like a way to pitch up instead of like manually going into the sample and then like pitching it here or whatever. Oops. Oh my goodness, come on. Yeah, it's just a way for me to like pitch up. I like it more. It sounds kind of like robotic-y, if that's even a word. But yeah, there's some like rests going on here. Maybe you heard it like this. Yeah, so it's just a washout. Okay, nothing crazy. Coming here, then it just rests. There's nothing, absolutely nothing going on, except for maybe these things here. This is gonna be like, this is like me saying, ooh, something's coming, like, ooh, something heavy is like on its way, right? It's just a little, see, look, it says right there, it's coming. That's what I called, that's what I called the group. Other than that, I have some vocals on top, or the original vocals, but I didn't do much. Like there's This is just like for ear candy. See, it's like a little radio thing. Just comes, it like shrinks and then opens up again. But I didn't do anything else. It just has reverb and stuff. Yeah, look. Okay, so check it out. It's just to do this. The vocals were like, I didn't have to do anything because they were already like perfect. So I just slapped it on there. Obviously, like I made sure that they were in time. Like it was at 123 BPM, a house tune, like I said before, but we're in 150. Oops. So yeah, not much going on. We have some effects down here. There's just some sweeps. This is how I like to, I just put all of my sweeps or filters, like risers, whatever, in one big group like this. I have a little bit of soothe going on and an EQ. But basic, there's like not that much crazy stuff going on, except for obviously in drop. Drop we'll get to now, or after I go over the drums. I forgot to mention that I route absolutely everything except for the main drums, so my kick and my snare, and my vocal group. Everything except for those things go directly into the sidechain. Just get stuck, right? Barely Live made a tutorial on it. Just search it. Great video. That's how I do it. That's how I sidechain with Shaperbox. But basically, I have this really slow down almond break coming in. And then that's followed up by an impact right here. And then that's where the silence kind of kicks in right here. So then it's like a nice way to kind of create suspense in your music. So yeah, we have the build-up section with all my drums. I froze everything just because my computer isn't as strong. So maybe you'll see it dying later on during the video, but whatever. Yeah, we have a clap here. It just repeats over and over and over, and then it's just being faded in by this EQ. So yeah, let's unfreeze this track just to see the automation. Yeah, right here. It just gets fades in here, and then it just goes crazy here. I also decided to use loops. I was kind of lazy, and I wanted to do this remix as quickly as possible. Have it turned in. Yeah, you just have some loops in here, basic EQ, curves. Not much going on, it just sounds like this. Also, this kick is not the same kick that I'm using here. Here I'm using a kick from, this is from Nasco. This is a Nasco kick right here. I'm pretty sure the snare too is also from Nasco. Yeah, it's also from Nasco. But this is like a softer, like, not as heavy kick. I don't know what pack this is from, but whatever. So yeah. All the other samples went on.
Here we go again.
Cool. Is there anything else I should probably go over? This is just volume automation. I just turn off, I make sure it's completely silent, like right here, so she can go.
Here we go again.
Like that, right? In the intro and break, a little washout effect here. I have a limiter going on, and yeah, that's basically it. On the build-up, there's nothing. Well, there's just an EQ filtering out the kick. Some reverb that fades it in here. And I think that's pretty much it. Some more pitching with frequency shifter so you can hear it instead of actual pitching within the sample. But yeah, I try to keep it very simple and straight to the point with my intros. I also try to make them really dreamy. That's why you see a bunch of reverbs everywhere. I'll get into how I made this during the breakdown, or how I made these during the breakdown. We also have like a brass stab, which I use in like a few other of my songs. But yeah, that's basically how I did the intro. So yeah, now let's go over to the drop. Over here, yeah.
Here we go again.
Okay. Enough of that. So, what do we have here? So, like I said before, my percussion goes into my sidechain. I forgot who was it did this. I think it was Panda Eyes. If you see my sidechains, I have two different curves. So there's one for like the lows. So anywhere between, you can see right here, like where my mouse is hovering, you'll see the numbers. Anything from like 199 hertz and below, it has a stronger sidechain curve than whatever is being split right there. You can see, again, you can see them here. It has a stronger curve just because the lows probably need more space, right? And then I don't sidechain my super highs. So anything from 12.4K above, that's just for my sidechain. For my like cymbals and rides and all my other hi-hats to just cut through the mix. That's why I don't sidechain any of that. And it sounds nice. Yeah, so over on in here, I don't do this anymore, but I used to put an imager on my percussion. But now I'm finding out that it kind of washes out the sound. So instead I have like a drum bus. No, not a drum bus, sorry. A glue compressor on, here, let me check. If I go into this one, I use a full parallel, this one, or this one. It's just like this. You can copy the settings too if it loads, because my computer is kind of slow. Sorry about that. Okay, here it is. You can just copy these settings if you want. I do this now. I have this and then like a soothe right after. But in this project, what I ended up doing was having a Pro Q, having this curve, and then before that I have the imager, the ozone imager like this. The highs are really wide. Yeah, I don't recommend doing that because sometimes it kind of causes more phasing issues, and then your cymbals kind of end up washing out. But it worked here for some reason, so we're good. I have a crash on the 1, so it just does like this, or does this, and then I have another hi-hat, hi-hat like right here. And then other than that, we can just go, I just use loops. It's just so much more efficient and quicker to, like the workflow process is just quicker if you just use loops. It's okay to use loops, it's okay to use samples. Who cares? You don't have to make everything on your own. So okay, underneath all of that, like besides the drop and stuff, I also have these little background effects. Nasco's Patreon, he has like a bunch of really nice ones. So they just do, here, maybe you'll hear it better here or here. They just do like, they basically fill up all the empty space that's behind your drop. Because sometimes if you just have like your basses, it's cool and it hits hard, but then it just feels kind of empty. So we have things like this going on in the background. And then I have some chants that are from an anime called Bunny Girl Senpai. I'm a weeb, okay? I'm an otaku, whatever. I fucking love anime, and she's just like screaming like look or something. She's like screaming to get someone's attention. Yeah. Pitch it down. What I like to do is have one of the samples have like no change in pitch, so be like the original pitch, pan it all the way to the left, and then pan this one all the way to the right, and then pitch it down 1, and it just gives it like a different effect right here. So like, let's say I didn't pan them. Still sounds cool, but it makes it sound way more wide. So yeah, I have this going on in the background with the percussion and the main drums and the sidechain. Also, I forgot to mention that my kick and my snare actually don't go into this drums group. If you see here, it goes into the directly into the master. Not this one. This one. The reason for this is because Virtual Riot made a video a long time ago. I think it was like for Pray for Riddim, I think. That was a long time ago. Where he said he would just clip the drums like in the master, and it was going like what, like 14 plus decibels or some shit. I forgot. It was like peaking like really hard, but it sounded nice. So then I kind of took that philosophy, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna clip my drums every single time so they're nice and loud. So yeah, that's why I started doing that. So you can visibly see it's like red. So yeah, but now we have the stuff going on in the background. Our drop is nice and ready for some wubs. Okay, so here we go. I wanted to explain again. I ended up cutting this drop, or half of this drop in half. Okay, so then imagine this was in here, and instead it was over here, right? And then like all of this was deleted too, and then you get into the intro outro. I mean the outro of the song. So I just shortened it because it was getting too long and ideas weren't popping into my head anymore. So I was just like, okay, quicker, a quicker song, a shorter song. It'll keep people's like attention for a long time, or it'll be better for like the human's attention span, right? So here we go. You can see that I have a bunch of groups for different like basses, right? What I like to do is like I layer like either, if I don't have a single patch that sounds like really good on its own, I'll probably layer a few just to make sure it's like nice and big and girthy. And I like to think of it as like different people having conversations. So I'll have like, you can see this first bass is like, would be like the first person greeting someone like, hey, how's it going? And then your response, so call and response, would be like, oh, like I'm doing good, like how are you, whatever. And then we can repeat that again. It's just like the more repetition you have, sometimes the more catchier the song gets, right? So that's basically what we have here. And then we have like an end phrase like here. Even says right here end phrase, but that's for something else over here. But that's how I like to think about going about when I make my drops. I'm like, okay, I need something to ask something, and then this other bass is gonna respond. So I have this first bass that goes like this. Oops. So this first bass, I made it a long time ago when I first started like producing. I think we could even see my old alias name. I'll get into post-processing right now. See, look, I used to go by Circumlight, but I changed my name because it sounded like something else. But yeah, I think I made this like in 2020, 2019, I forgot. I think I'll have this preset in the description below. Somewhere, like a Dropbox or a Google Drive, I don't know. It'll be free. It reminded me of Chris Caden back in the day. I used to listen to him a lot. Like him and Panda Eyes were like my main influences. Please don't crash the computer, but try to play it. Yeah. There's not much going on. It's just like a high notch with some FM basses, or an FM bass with a high notch. A little bit of hyper, distortion, chorus, which it's doing just a tiny bit, I think. An OTT and some Combs filter, which gives it most of its like resonance. So if I turn it off, where is it? Filter. See? That's where it gets most of its like tonality from. But yeah, I'll definitely include it in the description. Let's see. Basically, this is what it sounds like without all of this. Super weak. Absolutely nothing going on. Oh, actually, you'll probably hear it better if I turn these off, maybe. Yeah. You just have to post-process it, right? And then you should be good to go. So I have a Camel Crusher, just on British Clean, like everyone always uses it. I have this like little rack called Magic. It's just a way to make it more stereo. You could use like Ozone Imager. It'll probably do the same thing. Then we have a little like power rack. It's just you can slap any other rack on it, like a meat rack or a fat rack. You can slap anything on it, and then I'm taking away a bit of the lows here afterwards. Basically an OTT. You can copy these settings too if you want. It's like a variation on the OTT. Then we have a Soothe, just doing its thing, specifically up here in these higher frequencies. And then this is just a utility, but I mapped it so that 0 is at the top, and then like a negative infinity is down here. So, because if you put a regular utility, you want to go from like 0 to nothing to silent. It's like in the middle. I don't know why I kind of found that annoying. Whatever, doesn't matter. Anyways, yeah, that's that. And then we have different variations of it, like playing throughout throughout the other drop too, I think, right? Yeah, it's just on the ones. So you have this version, you have this one, and then this one, and then one more. Yeah. And then I almost always use separate sub. I have this clean sub right here. It's nothing fancy, just a sine wave with a pitch envelope on the, or an envelope on the coarse pitch, just to give it more punch. So it goes like pew, 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 right? Here, I'll show you. It's like this. Yeah. Do I have any automations on the here? Like, I'll show you if you like make it longer. It gets like really punchy, right? What did I have at, like 81 or something? Whatever, we're just gonna keep it there. Oh well, it is what it is. Yeah, simple sine wave on the coarse pitch, a little bit of erosion on wide noise, the enhance, which I forgot to turn up, whatever. I have a saturator, and then the EQ here. So like, let's say we didn't have this, right? It would sound like this. There it is. It's just, there's a bunch of like frequencies here that I don't need, that the sub doesn't need. It's like super distorted. Now it's clean, and then just like clipping it again, okay? And then this is just to follow the like suction effect, like a pew, and then it gets like faded out, and then it comes back in to hit you harder. I just did it with Valhalla. I have the high cut and the depth like pretty high. There's like no decay at all, no pre-delay. And it makes it sound like it's you're putting something like behind you, or in the room behind you, or in front of you, or whatever. Yeah, it's just a nice like little ear candy that I like to do. You can see it. Where else is it? I think it's just there and here. Yeah, see, this is just like reverbed out, like with a long ass tail. For 12.9 seconds. See, goddamn. Anyways, the lows are being cut on the whole group of my signature basses, whatever, and then some more EQing. Yeah, that's basically that. And then we have the response, which is a sustain bass. This is the same patch, processed differently. So this first one's like this, really mono, really thin, and this one's like girthy and like wide, but together they sound pretty good. And then on top of that, I have these things going like barks, and then I also have like a NASCO preset here. It's actually an effect. It's not a bass, but it fit very well with Virtual Riot's preset here, so it'll sound like, but in together, needs to sound like it's really, really fast, right? So then you have perfect. What I like to do is I grab one sound that sounds really cool, make it the main sound, and then have everything else just like support it. So I guess the main sound here could be, well, it could be a combination. It could be like this one, which I'm pretty sure the bass follows. Yeah, see? So this is my main thing, and I'm like, okay, I need to find other sounds that are going to support it, and then just stack them. Always stack them, stack them, stack them. Name of the game, stack your basses. But make sure that they sound, you know, cohesive and they support each other instead of like fight for attention. Yeah, so like I think this would be a good example. Let's see. Okay, so I have this bass, which is like the main one. It sounds kind of cool, but it was kind of lacking a little bit of like the lower end. Or maybe not. It just felt like it was lacking some frequencies here and there. You can see that's why it has such a crazy curve here. That's why this one sounds so shit. Like, it sounds really bad. Like, why would you? It's on it by its own. On its own, it sounds super bad. But if you have them both playing at the same time, you find out that they actually support each other, right? And then on top of that, we also have this thing to give like more emphasis on the like on the main beats, right? So then we have, and then that would be kind of like the end of a phrase. We have call, response, end of a phrase, and then we try to do it again. But I'm basically like repeating here, and then I have some glitches up here going on, and then another end of a phrase. So then we have this thing just supporting again. Sounds kind of shit by itself, but then I have this these samples, which I don't even care anymore. Like I have a bunch of, like, my library's huge now because of all the samples that I never use, because I've been so afraid of like, oh, like it's a VR sample, like I don't want to use it because everyone's gonna know like where it's from, blah blah blah. This, I don't even care anymore. Like I bought the samples so that I can use them. So I'm gonna use them in my songs. Okay, hot KERU take. Use samples. Don't give a fuck about what anyone else is gonna say. Anyways, enough of that. If you use samples, I like to change them up a little bit. Maybe like EQ them differently, or sometimes I don't even do anything to them. I guess. Look, check it out. That's funny. Anyways, it's good to chop it up too. So some of these I think are from different are actually different samples. I thought they were all the same ones, but I guess not. Basically just makes a phrase like this, but you hear this one. What makes this one special is that there's a delay tail every time it hits, so, and then the tail also is being automated here. You can see it goes. Cool. For like beginner producers, sometimes depending on the order, or not sometimes, depending on the order that you place your effects, it'll have a, you'll see how it kind of affects everything else behind it. So like, let's say you have, like I said, I have the delay, but why does it like pitch down? Because there's a frequency shifter at the very end that shifts the frequencies down. So if it was the other way, like this, you wouldn't even hear the shifting. And it just sounds like more boring. It's not as interesting, right? I think this tail also kicks in. So it's just reverb kicks in sometimes. But yeah, that's pretty much it for that. And then everything pretty much like from the sub. Like I said before, I try to focus on what I think the main bass is, and then I try to make it so that my sub patterns match that main bass. So let's see, there's okay, serum, and then the pitch bend. You see there's a bunch of pitching here. You can, I'll go like this. So that this again, it goes do do dee dee. I just did that with the actual notes. And then I think that's pretty much it for the sub. Because if I use the same note over and over, which I kind of technically I did, right? But there's so much like pitch automation. It keeps the drop a little bit more interesting because I get bored sometimes. Just it is cool. It is cool. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, if you use the same like note for everything, it can be cool. It could be heavy, but sometimes I get bored because it just goes like the whole time, and I'm just like it feels like I'm listening to someone explain to me in monotone the way they did something, and they don't have any expression. Like, I just get kind of bored, you know. So having a bunch of pitch automation kind of like humanifies. I don't know how. It makes music sound more human, right? It's more fun and exciting. Yeah, so we went over this part, and then we have some like guns here. Also followed by the sub with pitch automation again. Check it out. And then we have a sample. Yeah. So overall, it sounds like this. Okay, cool. The second part of the drop. It's pretty much the exact same thing, or it's really similar now. I'm just tossing in a little bit of variation here and there with different basses. So you'll hear this bass just go like somewhere here, and then there's also this that I call 6. It's a Panda Eyes sample, and this is actually a vocal from Sullivan King. Just process it kind of weird, make it support the main bass. It's always important to support. And then you have, sounds nice. You can see that these are the same samples here, just rearranged, and that way it gives you like a feeling of something like new happening. And then we have another like neuro Reese thing, yeah. Yeah, and then basically that's where the breakdown would kick in. Okay. Yeah, that's where the breakdown would kick in. But like I said before, this would be like over here. Let's go into this drop real quick too. Not much changes. We still have the first hits. Doing the same thing here.
Here we go again.
Here I just completely use like Nasco's samples. I'm like a huge Nasco fan, so I'm gonna use this shit. So just some more things to support. So yeah, that's just to support this bass right here. And then if we look elsewhere, I think that's pretty much it. This kind of comes into sub for all of this stuff right here, but then it'll come back in right here just so you'll feel something like, oh, I heard this before, I'm hearing it again, this is nice. It's nice to the ear. And this is just copy paste. This just goes over here, see? And yeah, I pretty much kept it as super simple as possible. I have a zap here, which kind of which just chokes everything, and then gives you like a release again, like oh, heavy, and then again heavy. Like, check it out. You just go. Oh, it'll probably sound cooler like this actually.
Here we go again.
Yeah. So that's basically it for the drop. I will go over these glitches though. If you hear this one. Okay, this is actually from another song of mine called Busta, which you guys should definitely check it out. So, came out on my EP Busted last year, I think. I think it was last year or 2 years ago. I forgot. Anyways, check it out. I'm starting to use this as a tag in like a bunch of my songs. But what I want to talk about is how I actually made them. There's a few ways you can make them. Basically, all right, I'm just going to explain it first, like Spark Notes it real quick. Essentially what you want to do is you want to get like a you want to make another audio track, and then you just want to hit the resample button, right? But what you want to do, now I'm just going to drag it out of this group. You just want to grab your basses and your sub. So just right, and you just record that, right? Whoops, I'm kind of dumb. You gotta go like this. Okay. Okay, so now we have this. And essentially what you do is like you play around, resample. Maybe you can play around with like tones, textures, make it go like insanely small. Maybe go like this, and then you get little like right. Maybe with tones you can get some. Oh, wait, isn't that what I was just using? What about texture? You can do that. And then basically you play around with this and then make another resample, right? Oh my god, come on. Then you play with this one, resample again. Like you can just like loop the section and play. That's basically what you do. But the way I go about it is a little different. I actually use a plugin by FL Studio called Edison. It's like the factory like standard preset for like FL Studio, but you could also get it there as a third-party plugin. I record this, so right. So we have the sorry, I got the wrong thing. I need to get the whole drop. Remember, it's important to get the sub and the bass. Don't get your drums. Do not get the drums. And let's cut all of it. And I'm actually gonna put this before this post right here. So now what we can do is record this section right here. There's no need to loop, so hit play. Okay, that's enough. Perfect. And now what you can do is duplicate the Edison. Hopefully my computer doesn't crash. Perfect. Beautiful. So now we have this one and this one. Okay. So we use this one right here to record the output of this. And you grab this little like wheel thing and you just like scrub through it. So I just like click and hold and then drag like left and right. Okay, perfect. And now you have glitches. So okay, perfect. And then you basically just slap them wherever you think might fit. So let's just delete this. Let's unwarp. Cool. So like now, let's say we wanted to put something here, right? So we can just delete it here and then go like scrub. Here we go. Obviously, it's not the most bestest place to put it, but let's say we want. Basically, you can leave gaps in your drops, like here and there, maybe towards like the end of a phrase or somewhere in the middle, where you think like what glitches would fit, and then just like slap them on there, and then you'll have something cool. Or you can just have it look like this. yeah, so you just gotta play around with it, find things that work, find things that don't work, and use things that only work. So yeah, that's basically how I make glitches. All right, now I'm gonna go into the other project so I can show you exactly what I did at the end, like right before I submitted it actually. So let's do that real quick. All right, so we are in the final version of this track. The only thing that changed was because I didn't have most of my stuff frozen, and I thought it'd be easier if I just bounced the whole like drop group into audio, and then I just like slapped it on here. So you can see this is a way smaller project, or a way shorter project than the previous one, than the one we were just in. And yeah, see, it's like 3 minutes. The other one went to like 4 something, like over here. It was like over here. Anyways, so we went over the drop, so then it just ends like this. So it's almost the exact same thing. It's pretty much the exact same thing, except its coming bass is back once again. And I forgot to go over this real quick, but my drop group, I added a little bit more post-processing on the entire chain, or the entire group track, sorry. I was cutting the lows because I thought it was a little too heavy down there. I have a Pro Q3, which seems to just be a mid-side EQ. Like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I think I'm just turning it on and off. Is that what's going on? Oh, yeah. The reason for that, where is it? Okay, yeah, so here, the reason why it's sometimes off or on, or I'm engaging it to cut all the lows, is because I have these like kick rolls that lead into like the other kick, right? Or to the main kick, so it'll be like, so then it'll sound like this, right? And I needed all the lows to be cut from here, so that's why you have, just for this like split second, like this one bass specifically, there's no lows. And I do it again over here too. I have another tail reverb just to like filter it out a little bit. So yeah, and it does the same thing here too. And of course another soothe. And I think, I don't remember if I had this on. Did I have this on? I'm pretty sure I did. A dynamic EQ. Some just to tame some of the frequencies over here. Beautiful. That's pretty much it there for these. If we hear without all of this stuff, it sounds kind of boring, so it just goes. Okay, cool sample, but I wanted it to sound more dreamy and to fit like the atmosphere that I was going for over here. So there's a little bit of delay, or a lot of it actually. You go away. It kicks in like when the sample's like pretty much done, so it's just more, it's like a tail, like another tail. Right, some OTT basically, another reverb tail, some EQ carving out here and carving out the highs, and a soothe, and then this like frequency shifter, which gives it this like watery effect. Basically, if you have 50% of the frequency shifter on, and then you mess with the fine, you can get different like different like warbles. I guess you can go the other way too. That one doesn't sound as cool, but you can go like, but yeah. And then just this filter, just doing its own little like fun thing. And then that's why it sounds way more cooler than just by itself. Some Reese's here, I think I use the same Reese somewhere in here. Whenever the vocal kicks in, I think towards the end. Yeah, it's the exact same one as these right here. Yeah, so now you can see like most of my stuff isn't frozen, but it's okay. My computer is not dying right now, so it's perfect. All right, let's go into the breakdown. We have the vocals, RayRay just going again like, you got me losing my mind, right? Let's see. So there's just some sweeps going down. There's like a clock thing. I'm pretty sure I just like drowned it in reverb and then like froze it. The creeping like basses are coming in like from time to time. Re stays the same, and then we have these like plug things. Okay, so let's unfreeze these real quick and talk about that. So I have these that go. Wow. Okay, that is a lot. There's like vocoder. I was trying to click like somewhere else because I thought it was being automated, like the reverb was being automated, but whatever. So I have like basically a vocoder, an EQ doing this crazy curve, a bunch of reverb. It's 100% wet. Holy. Glue compressor, and enhance, and the EQ doing some more curve stuff, or carving stuff, sorry, and then a soothe again, and then volume automation, which does nothing. Okay. And then the patch itself is just like some bells. Right. And then this one's kind of interesting. What I did here, basically the same processing as the bells up here, but it's a vocal. So you can grab like a tiny piece of a vocal and then just play it as a MIDI, and then just make sure you transpose it to the right key so that you're not playing like the wrong notes. Looks like I transposed this one 7 semitones up, and then you get this right here. Okay, what did I do? I put an auto filter cutting the highs, put a vocoder, and then you get not much, right? And then the Valhalla, a bunch of fucking reverb, and then like a vocal rack that it just has it's just put us like a meat rack on it or something. Fat rack, I mean, whatever. A soothe, just taming some of the stuff there. This EQ doing the same curve that's up here, I think, right? Glue compressor and another EQ. Yeah. And basically you get and like I said before, you choose something that's the main thing and then something that supports it. Yeah. And then the same thing happens here again. I think there's like yeah, there's another washout here. There, right there. There's this washout here, and then all of the audio just cuts out. Slight curve right here. But didn't want it to pop or anything. And then the vocals come in again. And then I just had this to like fill out the ambience. Also forgot to mention that so I have the way I sidechain. Okay, remember how I said I don't put my vocals into the sidechain? The way I do it is if there's any vocals happening during like the main drums, right? I grab these transient shapers and I sidechain them with these main drums. So you can see it says sidechain kick, sidechain snare, right? Here's a great example. Sort of. Not really, because it doesn't really do anything here.
You got me losing my mind.
You can hear it a little bit here, right?
You got me losing my mind.
It's just ducking every time that the snare or kick hits, and this is how you do it. Speed all the way up, attack all the way down, or depending on how you need it, but you just put that attack all the way down. It's basically what I did here, but instead I routed it to this drum, and then I just automated because it was picking up other transients. I'm like, I don't need it during those transients, just like these. That's how you hear it going. But the reason why I have the speed super fast is because I don't want it to be sidechain like insanely crazy, you know, like all like the way you would sidechain like a bass, because then it sounds too like, you know how when you're in the car and you open the window sometimes and you're going like fast on the freeway and it just like it sounds like, right? That's what it kind of reminds me of. I don't like that sound at all. And that's what I think of every time I hear like super hard sidechain on vocals. I'm like, doesn't feel good. I don't like it. But yeah, everything else is pretty much the same as the intro here. Nothing changes except
I can't remind what is the time. How about television?
except the like this synth just comes in way earlier and like it's just faded out even harder, right?
I can't remind.
And then some more sweeps to create more tension right before the drop. So
You got me. Here we go again.
but yeah, and then we just cut to the end real quick.
You got me losing my mind.
So again, we just use pad, Reese, pad, another pad. But then this time I have the piano kicking in. I've been getting in the habit of like finishing a bunch of my songs with just piano for some reason. I don't really know why, but it sounds nice to me. So it's getting automated by this EQ here, and it's this Labs piano. It's really pretty. It doesn't sound super realistic, but I think it sounds, but I think it's perfect for the kind of mood and like atmosphere that I go for within all of my songs. So like I'm looking for like a dreamy vibe atmosphere thing. I don't like saying the word vibe. A dreamy atmosphere or mood or a world, right? That I'm trying to create. But that's basically it. There's like a little bit of reverb from the Labs itself. Kicks in. This is just being filtered in, and then the washout that starts out washed out and it gets dry. So you just have okay. How did I end up making this? These like chords and stuff. Basically, what you can do is, or the way I went about this, it was a little easier because the chords were, I just heard the chords in the song and I just copied it from ear by ear. What you could do to make more melodies or like more chord progressions is start off with some of your like your bass or like root notes, right? Slap them here, maybe put them in octaves, so then you get like something like this. And then what you do next is you grab like a note that sounds good to you that's in key. Everything has to be in key, right? And you just repeat it. And then from there you start thinking like, okay, what I need to think of like a melody. Keep it super simple. Like don't be like no, just keep it like super simple and then just write whatever you think sounds like pretty nice to you. So then I ended up with this. And then here I decided to like make it like a duet kind of like these upper voices going like. And then like I said before, going back to the stacking, find some notes that you think might support all this other stuff. So, and then obviously, or not obviously, then this time I decided to like leave it alone so that this duet can like shine more. So, and then right there. And then that's how I basically go about like writing a bunch of my like chords too. If I didn't have, let's say this was like an original, and this is basically how I start all my songs. Like I start with some root notes, and then just start adding a note that repeats like all the time, and then just start adding melodies like above and below. And yeah, that's basically it. Then you have this like vocal that has its like last like breath, right? And then we slow it down a little bit. The tempo, you can see, wait, mixer, song tempo. Yeah, you can see how it slows down here. Just so it sounds more realistic on the piano. Because in like orchestras and stuff, sometimes they'll add more like, sometimes they'll make the song like lag a little bit to give it more like expression. So they'll be like dun 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 dun, right? So that's like I was going for with the ending. Just to make it sound a little bit more like cinematic. But yeah, that's basically how I made my remix. And then I guess we'll go over the master real quick. I have like a radio filter thing that you can see it here. It just makes it sound like super mono, super radio, and then goes back to sounding full. The utility, I'm pushing it down 2 decibels because it was getting really loud. I usually just mix to 0. I don't really care about headroom because dubstep. So yeah. And I have this G clip. It's a free VST, so you guys should definitely get it. I'm basically just clipping everything. I'm basically clipping everything. And then I have an ozone just to clean some more things up. I noticed that I tend to mix all my stuff, and then I have a lot of high end. Like I have just like a bunch of high end that I forget to cut, or I don't know. But this is just like a safety net for me. I have like a little cut right here. It's not doing anything. It's like negative 1.9 decibels, so super tiny, but it's just like a safety net. Then we have like a dynamic EQ. You'll see it more in action like over here, but it's not doing too much. It's just like another safety net. I think that's where like this is around like like 3.5K. Yeah, like around 3.5 is where like I think babies cry, and that's why it hurts so much. I'm pretty sure it's around there. So dynamic EQ, just to be sure. Then I have dynamics. I have my ratio set to 6, 4, 5, and 6, and then you just basically, what I like to do is not have them compress too much, specifically like here. So yeah, you can see they're not doing too much. Maybe the higher one, or the upper frequencies one, is doing a lot more compression, but this is just to clean it up. Then it turned down the input gain another 2 decibels because it was getting too, like, it was clipping a little too hard, and then I boosted that shit back up because I needed it louder, and the natural like distortion that was happening was sounded pretty nice. And I have an ozone imager I didn't turn down this one all the way to zero, or like to zero, right? Because you can, oh, sorry, to negative like 100. Because of the Reese. The Reese has a little bit of stereo, right? So why would I get rid of that if it sounds kind of cool in the lows? But nevertheless, I still, I went pretty like mono. And then I used to have these like bands like super high, like crazy, like this. But then it causes more like phasing issues and more. It sounded like thin. I didn't like it. So now I'm less drastic with these changes. So now it should be something like, what was it? It was like this sort of. Yeah, you don't do too much. You should be fine. And that's basically all I did for the master. Yeah, I'm one of those people who think it's like, or who believe that a song should be like 99% mastering and then like 1%, or sorry, 99% mixing and like 1% like mastering. Because if you have, it's easier to have, or it sounds better to have a clean mix. And then if you're going to send it to someone to master, like you don't want to have them do too much. Because if you send in a shitty mix and then you're like, okay, master this for me, like there's no way they're gonna be able to fix like all the errors that you had made. So try to have like the best mix down you possibly can first, and then that way when you get to like your mastering, like you don't pretty much don't do anything, right? Like I don't have a lot of stuff, just this ozone. That's it. There's people who put like a bunch of stuff, like do it kind of ends up looking like this, right? Just to pretend these are like different plugins, not like regular post processing. Sometimes their mastering chain looks like this, and I'm like, damn, it's a lot. But yeah, man, that's basically how I made my remix for Losing My Mind. If you guys haven't checked it out, I highly recommend to do so. It's a whole album of some crazy remixes. Like my favorite ones are Death Code. I think Death Code is my favorite one on the album, like topping mine. It'd be like Death Code, then me, and then like Chill, and then House of Panda. I'm just naming like artists that were on the album. There's a bunch. You guys definitely check it out. Also, I'm gonna be doing a lot more tutorials, or you should be expecting some more tutorials from me on this channel. Don't really know what direction this channel is going to go in, but I just know that I want to do more tutorials. So if you guys have any suggestions or like topics that maybe I skimmed over during this video, or that you just want me to go more in depth in, just leave it in the comments, and I'll try to make a video about them. But yeah, man, this song was super fun to make, and I had a great time making it. So I hope you guys have a good time listening to it too. Nevertheless, I don't have anything else for you guys. So thank you for sticking around, for those who stuck around, and have a good day. Bye, guys.